Welcome to the Speaking of Writers podcast, where we talk with the storytellers behind the stories that matter. Today's guest brings us inside a world few people ever see: international crime investigations, high stakes diplomacy, and the human side of global law enforcement. Former FBI Special Agent John Schachnovsky is the author of Beyond the Badge: Crime, Justice, and the FBI in Thailand. Stationed in Bangkok, Shagnovsky worked on cases that cross borders, cultures, and continents, from terrorism and international kidnappings to cybercrime, mobsters, and headline making investigations like the death of actor David Carradine. This book goes beyond true crime. It's about trust, relationships, and why international cooperation is essential in the modern fight against crime. John Schachnovsky, welcome to the Speaking of Writers podcast.
Thank you very much for having me, Steve. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
It's great to have you here. Beyond the Badge covers extraordinary real life cases. What made you decide that it was time to tell these stories now?
So you might see a lot of FBI agents on CNN or Fox News or being talking heads. FBI agents haven't been known to write a lot of books. We don't talk about ourselves and our cases that much. A lot of times we don't want to brag. Sometimes it's also because the FBI has lots of rules. So my time in Thailand, before Thailand, I was in San Francisco in the office out there. And when I came to Thailand in the last few years of my career, I would tell some stories here and there, and all my friends in Bangkok would say, "You should write a book. You should write a book." And I thought, maybe, maybe not. And then COVID hit and we were all locked inside. And I thought, you know what, this might be a good time to try and begin to put the stories down on paper and see, not really having a major thought that I would publish it. But as I moved along and started writing, the process became fun. I liked talking about the cases I worked. That's when I began the process. But then the real reason I wrote the book is number one, most people, to include Americans, have really no idea the FBI is overseas. I got Americans asking me, wait, you're overseas? What are you doing overseas? So I wanted to there's 14,000 FBI agents, about 250 overseas, and really our stories aren't told as much. So I wanted to do that, and I wanted to kind of share the story of the FBI overseas.
The title suggests there's more here than just crime solving. What does Beyond the Badge mean to you personally?
Beyond the badge means that the work I did in the FBI in Thailand was very, very meaningful to me. But my life in Thailand, my life in Bangkok, my life in Southeast Asia has been life changing for me. I mean, I still live here. I spent 10 years with the FBI here, but now I live here. I'm retired here. And barring something strange, I plan on being here the rest of my life. I mean, this is my home now. So that's beyond the badge means I wanted to talk about what the FBI does, but I also want to talk about Thailand as a country, the people here, and my life here. That's really been it's a big part of the book as well.
John, you wrote in the introduction that as soon as you got off the plane, it felt like home to you. Why?
It's one of those things that's so hard to explain. I tried explaining it in the book. It's just, I mean, I lived in the Washington, D.C. area. I went to school in upstate New York. I spent time in the Border Patrol in Arizona. My first office in the FBI was San Francisco. All great places, every one of them. When I came to Thailand, I landed here on our first vacation. Before I even started working here, I landed here with my wife, and just the people, the food, the culture, everything about it felt like home. I felt like I immediately was ingratiated here. I did spend time in San Francisco, so I did. And San Francisco is a pretty lots of Asian culture there. Even in San Francisco, my wife and I kind of gravitated toward that kind of culture. A lot of things in the Bay Area, and just between. And I learned the language before I came here. I knew I wanted to be in Thailand, so after our first vacation here, I began taking Thai lessons, and having the language pretty quickly gets you more ingratiated into a foreign culture. So just everything from the people, the food, I mean, the weather, everything about it. It's the most traveled to city in the world, Bangkok, Thailand, and number one in the world when it comes to tourism. And it's always, people think New York is the city that never sleeps.
Mm.
Bangkok is the true city that never sleeps. It's always, and I love that. I love it. I love the craziness and the excitement of Bangkok to this day.
Mm. How did your FBI assignment in Thailand differ from what people might imagine traditional FBI work looks like?
So in Thailand, we have not just the FBI. I mean, there's DEA, there's Secret Service, and then every country in the world pretty much has their police officers stationed in major cities to include Bangkok. So in the US, carry a gun, have arrest powers, all those things. Yeah, you see some movies and TV shows where law enforcement officers go overseas and they carry their gun and they make arrests. That's the one big difference. I have no police powers here. So I work at the pleasure of the Royal Thai Police or at the Thai government. So for me to do anything overseas, I have to be very, very good at liaison, making connections, working with the local police to do anything really here. There's a handful of things that you can do unilaterally, very small list of things you can do unilaterally. For the most part, you work hand in hand with foreign police officers. So that might be something people don't know is that it's not a matter of me walking out in the morning with my badge and gun and doing the same kind of job I would do in San Francisco or Chicago or New York, where I'm just an FBI agent. Me and my FBI partner go out there and do our job. Your partner out here is going to be a foreign police officer, and you need to work with that person every single day to make arrests, to do search warrants, to do anything, to do interviews.
How critical is trust when working with foreign law enforcement, and how do you earn it?
Depends where you are in the world, how you earn it. In the book, I do say this, so I won't sugarcoat it. You earn a lot of it in Thailand by having a whiskey and soda or having a drink at midnight some nights and just hanging out with the guys or hanging out with the police officers. So a lot of that is a social. I think a lot of that, if you talk to law enforcement officers who go get stationed in Asia, you meant Seoul, Korea, Tokyo, you name it. A lot of it is on a social level. They want to help you at 10 a.m. making an arrest because they knew you at 10 p.m. having a drink. Some countries, it's showing them that you can do the job, which of course it is here as well, that you show them that you can get results. Those couple things you want it early on, show them you get results early on. You want to show them that you are more than just a cop who's going to be here for a few years, that you can become a friend or a colleague, a closer colleague. And then, when they're going to give you requests too. FBI has a very good name overseas, where we get things done. So a lot of police officers will ask us, for example, hey, we have a case not connected to an FBI case, but we need help with your FBI lab. Maybe some forensic evidence, or we need help with some cyber case we have here. And if you can show them, no, we can give you we can help you, we can help you. We have resources to assist you. Those other ways you do it. You want to make sure if they need your help, because a lot of stuff in my book um, aren't FBI cases. They're cases where the Royal Thai Police specifically asked me, John, we need your help on this. They have a great law enforcement agency out here, but there are times they need some assistance, and the FBI allows us to assist, even not an FBI case. It's called a foreign police cooperation case. If a foreign police agency needs our help, we're there to help. Those are the kind of things you need to do to make sure that the trust is built. And you always have to be honest. Any one instance of you not being honest, and the relationship is shot.
Hmm. Were there moments where cultural misunderstandings nearly derailed an investigation?
I mean, I think one of the things that I tried to do before I came from my first tour out here, I've been here a couple times on vacation, is I did it as best I could to learn the culture, understand the culture. I was lucky enough to come out here before my first assignment. I came here for a part-time assignment for about 60 days to kind of test things out, and I was able to learn a lot. Thailand is a country where most people speak decent English. When you get out into the provinces, when you're in Bangkok, but you get out in the provinces, there's a little bit less English, so I was able to speak Thai well enough. Um, in the book, I do discuss one case where language became an issue, where I was trying to assist police officers from the country of Mozambique, and they were talking to Thai police officers, and I kind of brought the two together. It wasn't an FBI case. At the request of the Mozambique officials, they asked the FBI agent who was stationed in Africa, can they put him in touch with somebody in Thailand? They were looking for a fugitive, and I sat in a room and just kind of was going to do introductions between the Mozambique police and the Thai police, thinking I could step away and say, okay, you guys are friends now. I can walk away. They both began speaking English to each other, but neither side understood the other's accent at
Hmm.
all. The Mozambique officials have a strong Portuguese accent, and the Thais obviously have a Thai accent, English with Thai accent. So I began to realize both sides were looking at me and saying, "We need you to help us." And I said, "You both realize that you're speaking English to English." So I sat there for 7 hours, an entire day, doing English to English translation. It was very surreal, but that was one of the instances where I needed to do my English, but It wasn't a cultural difference, but I was two agencies that really needed some assistance. They had cultural issues. On my side of things, the biggest cultural issue that I had to learn to understand is the Thais are so they want to say yes to everything. So a lot of times in Thai culture, not just in law enforcement, they'll say yes at the end of the day, or maybe, or we'll try when the answer is no. They really can't do something for you, but they don't want to say no. So I had to kind of sit down with some of my closest Thai colleagues and say, look, if the answer is no, just say no. I won't be offended by it. If you tell me yes or maybe, and I go back to the agent in the US who has a request for me, and I say maybe, they get their hopes up. It's much better if you just tell me no. Americans understand no. Maybe they think it's still a possibility. So that's the one that if you ask a lot of people who've been here for many years, they'll probably agree that the Thai desire to please is great, but there are times you just want them to just be honest. It's a yes or no. Just tell us no if it's no.
The book touches on the shocking death of David Carradine. What can you share about working a case that had global media attention?
It was early on in my time here. I did two separate tours here for a total of 10 years. Only pretty new into my first tour here, this came up. And the benefit for me to realize how much impact it had was I actually saw the CNN broadcast about David Carradine dying in Thailand before the FBI was even asked to assist. So I knew this was a hot button case. So within 24 hours, it took less than 24 hours when the family asked the FBI for assistance. But when I got the call from my boss saying, John, I need you to head to the hotel where the body was found and go work with the Royal Thai Police on this, I knew this was going to be a big deal. And as I say in the book, the director of the FBI at the time was Director Robert Mueller, who now has, I think, a more famous name from some of the cases post career for him. But he was the FBI director, and I was told that he was going to be within a couple of days. He was going to be out in L.A. On a separate matter, obviously. I think he was giving, he was going to be there for an award being given to the old FBI TV show. Efren Zimbalist Jr. was the old FBI in the 50s, I think it was 60s. He was going to give some kind of award for that show. But we knew when he landed in LA, the questions he was going to get is all about David Carradine. I mean, he was going to be in front of the Hollywood press, oddly enough. So I knew I was on the clock. I had to get him an answer very quickly. And I also knew that it had already been all over the news. So I went there knowing. The good part about that case was that going to the hotel, I pretty much knew ahead of time. I already been briefed by some of the police officers. We pretty much knew, we thought we knew what the cause of death was. It wasn't a huge mystery. It was mostly me going there to confirm for the family and for the FBI that what the Thai police had done was good police work. What their first thought was on cause of death was going to be correct, and quickly I realized it was.
How does an Interpol red notice actually work in practice, John? And what misconceptions do people have about it?
Good question. Interpol red notices. I think everybody thinks that a red notice means that I can walk up to somebody and you have a red notice for you, and you're under arrest, immediately under arrest. Red notices in most countries are the beginning of the process. If someone has an Interpol red notice, and they are found to be living in a foreign country, most countries will not just arrest somebody on a red notice. You have to then go to that country's through their legal process and get a local arrest warrant. That first red notice will get you in the door. It will get the foreign police to pay attention, get them to listen to you, get them to have a meeting. Then the process is, okay, let's verify where that person is. Okay, they're at this hotel, they're staying at this condo. We saw them here. Verify they're here. And then the process begins. You can try and do it quickly, try and do it in a few days if you can, but you have to go to the judicial authority in that country and get an arrest warrant. Now, there are some countries that will arrest on red notice only. Thailand is not one of them, and America is not one of them. So in America, we don't do it just based on a red notice, and in Thailand either. So I had to what would happen is an FBI agent would say to me, "Hey, I have a fugitive. I think he's in Thailand. We got a red notice for him. That's great. I will work with my Thai colleague to verify that person actually is here. But then what we'll probably do is we'll get one of the Thai police officers, maybe a surveillance team, to get eyes on that person for the next 24, 48, 72 hours while we get paperwork to make the actual arrest. I think most people think red notice, got that guy's right there, put him under arrest. It isn't that quick.
Mm-hmm. These cases involve victims, families, and long-term consequences, of course. How did you emotionally process that weight?
Yeah, I mean, I think the FBI does a very good job. Every FBI office has got a victim witness coordinator, people who work with the families. We identify cases that are going to, we believe, have witness or victims that may need some assistance, psychological assistance, monetary assistance, you name it. So, on an FBI level for the victims and witnesses, we have a good process in place. Personally, I did 25 years in law enforcement, 20 in the FBI. I don't want to say the kind of the pain callous is over, but I think that just, first couple of years in the FBI, you just kind of get used to it, depending on the kind of cases you work. I began working in San Francisco on working narcotics cases, not as many victims that you might, you're mostly working cartel cases and making arrests. Then I began to work some white collar crime cases, which involve victims who've lost sometimes their entire life savings. That kind of gets you down. You kind of, it's very difficult. You have people who've sometimes senior citizens who lost all their savings, and that
Mm.
kind of tough on some of the scams that happen. And then in Thailand, I began to work the child sex cases, child sex trafficking cases, where you have, you know, the smallest, the youngest, the toughest victims to deal with. And I think for me, it came with experience. I think some agents, cope it with different ways. I think for me, it just came with experience. It's the job, and usually, what you're hoping is that the outcome of your case is good. You caught somebody, you put somebody in jail, you saved a victim, somebody who, if it not for your case, would have still been being victimized. So I think if you can kind of compartmentalize the pain, but bring about to the forefront of your mind, you think all the good it does. That kind of, I think, for me, helps you get through the process.
Mm. How did working overseas change your perspective on justice and crime?
Yeah, I mean, it shows you lots of things. First of all, it shows you how amazing other law enforcement agencies are. I mean, I think that most FBI's would say that we at times at times look in the mirror and truly believe we're the best law enforcement agency in the world, which I still believe we are. But you go overseas and realize how amazing law enforcement officers there are overseas as well. Um, and also how similar we are. How even though, most of my cases I worked were FBI cases that had a connection to Thailand or some terrorism cases that, involved American citizens and American property, but you realize that the crime types they're working overseas are very similar to the crime types they're working in America. There's some outliers. There's certain crimes we just don't see in America or they don't see here. Violent crime isn't as big in Thailand as it would be in the US. But at the end of the day, that, the world is huge. But when you talk to law enforcement officers overseas and you see victims, the world is so much smaller than you actually think.
So this book, Over My Shoulder and Over Your Shoulder, Beyond the Badge, do you see it as the first of more books, perhaps?
That's a best question you've asked. I because I've been asked that so much the last couple of months. I would have you asked me that a few months ago, and I said absolutely not. I wrote this book, as I said before, for the FBI overseas to put a light on that. I also wrote it because a lot of people don't know this, but the Royal Thai Police is a very good agency, but there are some people out there who believe they're very corrupt, and there is some corruption in there, unfortunately. And when you watch a TV show about the FBI in America, most time we're the good guys. It's always a fun case, always a fun movie or TV show. In Thailand, the Royal Thai Police a lot of times are the comic relief in the TV shows. They aren't really looked at very well. So I wanted also to write the book because I wanted the Royal Thai Police to be put in a book to show Thai citizens how good their law enforcement agency actually can be. So that was why I did it. But now I've gotten kind of the bug. I've been suggested I should write a fiction book about a FBI agent in Bangkok working cases. And with my knowledge of how the system works, I could probably do some maybe based on reality, but do some fiction case. So I've actually slowly begun to write a book too, a fiction book about an FBI agent who actually retires in Thailand and he gets involved in some cases in his retirement job. So that's a possibility. But then I've also, I mean, this is all so new to me. Even since just talking to you a few days ago, I've been reached out to by a couple of production companies that have wanted to look at my book to maybe be a TV show. So we'll see. It's all very exciting. Things you never think were going to happen to you when you're, rescuing somebody 5 or 6 years ago in Thailand. But we'll see. The book has been received very well. It's been very exciting. So what I will do next from me just being retired to maybe looking at other things in the production world, book or TV have popped up. So we'll see. It's exciting and we'll see.
Yeah. If readers take away, John, one message from Beyond the Badge, what do you hope it is?
I really hope that there is an understanding and an appreciation for what U.S. law enforcement does overseas. I think it's just not, I mean, there's Secret Service, DEA, Homeland Security. There's so many agencies overseas at almost every embassy in the world. And there are so few of us overseas. And we do some amazing, amazing cases. I mean, 9/11 happened, obviously a number of years ago, but, 19 hijackers from Saudi Arabia, very quickly, the FBI agent there was on the case. The Boston Marathon bombing, the connection those guys had to Russia was the legal attaché out there was on the case. There's so many examples of just huge cases overseas, and it's just not really, most FBI, just movies, TV shows are domestic. There's been a few about overseas, but really, I would like people to see the hard work of federal law enforcement officers overseas.
Mhm. Beyond the Badge, Crime, Justice, and the FBI in Thailand, a gripping behind the scenes look at international investigations and the relationships that make justice possible across borders. The book is available now in paperback. If you're a fan of true crime, international intrigue, or real stories that read like thrillers, this is one you won't want to miss. And I think we're going to hear more, more of the written word from John Schachnovsky in the near future. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Steve. Thanks a lot.
This is the Speaking of Writers podcast. Thank you for watching and for listening. Like it, share it, subscribe to it, write a review. I will talk to you again next time. I'm Steve Richards.